I think there are two reasons why many Asian MMOs have been perceived as grinders, and one of those reasons I think is a lot of the gameplay elements is kind of, for a seasoned RPG player, it's kind of very simplistic and maybe not too complicated enough for their tastes. But in my opinion, that was a deliberate choice for the designers of the games who made those Asian games, because in Asia, excepting Japan, which has a long history of RPG games, but in most of Asia, RPG games was kind of a very hardcore, kind of minor subgenre of games that only certain people played, and it wasn't a really mainstream stuff that a lot of people were used to. It was something very new and something that players weren't used to. So if it had all the elements of a traditional RPG, it would kind of overwhelm those new players. It would seem very complicated and something that was very hard to learn. So I think the designers of those early Asian MMOs kind of toned it down so it can be something that can be easily learned by the average, gamer who haven't played any RPGs before. I think that was a very right decision, because as you've seen, Asian MMOs kind of exploded all over Asia, because I think one of the appeal was it's something that anyone could just pick up and start playing. I mean, in Korea, 40-year-old, men who haven't played PC games before in their life, they're playing, games like Lineage, and they're having a good time. Making the games kind of very easy to play and not too complicated was kind of very appropriate at that time. Asian MMOs didn't have a lot of content because that wasn't expected of RPGs. I mean, but also for Westerners also, I think the amount of content, the expectation for the amount of content that an MMORPG should have kind of gradually rised over the years. And now with WoW, you have to have a lot of content to have a really competitive MMO. And so also in Asia, because of WoW, the players' expectation for content within an MMORPG, and by content I mean that stuff to do while you're leveling up, besides just killing mobs, I just see it as content, and it takes a lot of time to develop and a lot of development power. But since the expectations for the amount of content has risen so high, if Aion is to be really a major player in the MMO market, it should have more than a certain amount of content, and certainly we are aiming for that amount.